a big chunky Tottenham update where a lot of news is doing the rounds at this moment in time. But we're going to start off with the devastating injury news of James Maddison, as Spurs did confirm that Maddison will undergo surgery for a ruptured anterior cruciate ligament in his right knee. They said that we'll be supporting him in every step of the way, and Fabrizio Romano says that he's going to be out for the next 6 to 7 months. Absolutely devastating. So 6 to 7 months will be around February, March time, around there. He's going to miss the majority of the season. When he does come back, he's not going to get fully fit. You're not going to see a fit Maddison this season, pretty much.
Yes.
So we were looking for a number 10 before Maddison was injured. Now it's like just desperation. We need to get in a creative midfielder ASAP. When you've been watching the pre-season games so far this season, the lack of creation has been the thing that has just, thrown into your face. And without Maddison, Kulusevski, which we'll get into a minute, we are just in desperation mode now for a creator.
And clearly the plan was to probably play Maddison with a player like a Gibbs-White, who may be either in the 8 or potentially have an ability to play with 2 number 10s. And now we don't have any number 10s in the squad. So it's absolutely gutting. Maddison, we saw last season when he's fit and when he's at his best. We know what an important player he is for us. And unfortunately as well, when you look at our squad, he's kind of one of the only players where we don't have another one of him. We don't really have another profile of a Maddison. We don't really have another creator in the team. So the fact that he's going to be out for the majority of the season is devastating. It's one of the players who I think it's probably one of the most important players to be out for me in the squad for that amount of time. So for him to suffer as well an ACL at 29 years of age, it's not good news for him whatsoever. It's going to take everything. Obviously, you have players like Perisic who seem to recover from his ACL impressively quickly and is now back to his best at an impressively quick time, but he seems to be an exception. Usually, we know Maddison is a player who hasn't had a great time with injuries in general, let alone now, and now he's suffering this ACL. How he recovers from it, it's going to be very difficult for him, because a player who's quite brittle anyway, suffering this ACL injury, taking time to get back to his best. We've seen with Bentancur how long it's taken him to get back to his best. And he's a more robust player. So it's hard to think when exactly we will ever see Maddison at the top of his game, playing regularly and not suffering regular injuries off the back of this. I'm gutted for him, because I think he would have done so well under Frank this season, in that Damsgaard kind of role. I think it was made for him. Just coming back from injury as well, just getting back on the pitch. Obviously, he played a few minutes against Arsenal, came on against Newcastle, getting ready for the new season, probably gearing up, getting excited. And he was probably had his sights on the World Cup squad. He definitely had his sights on that. I think we know he's a good enough player for that.
In it now.
Well, obviously not. He's out for the whole season, but he's had his sights on that. And it's gutting for him. That was probably his last chance of maybe making that kind of squad as well. Yeah. So it's gutting for him. How this will affect him mentally as much as physically. It's going to be a tall order. Look, all I want to say is we're obviously all with Maddison, wishing him a speedy recovery. Let's hope he gets back to his best and we get to see a fully fit Maddison again in a Tottenham shirt. But right now, it's hard to envisage that. It's just tough. It's tough for him to be suffering that kind of injury. And where it leaves us as well is in a terrible, terrible place. Yeah,
it's going to be a long road of recovery ahead for James Maddison. And and I echo those thoughts. We're obviously with him every step of the way, and let's hope he can get back to full fitness at some point. So that's the James Maddison situation. There's been an injury update on Dejan Kulusevski as well, and Ryan Taylor says that Kulusevski is expected to miss the first month of the new season, so hopefully looking to get him back around September time. I'm guessing around mid-September, which is obviously great for us, because I thought maybe he'll be out for a bit longer than that, and the need for Dejan Kulusevski to get back to full fitness is even more compounded now with the Maddison injury news, and I hope we don't rush him back now after that news.
Yes, but when you read things, I think we have to be careful when we read news headlines like this, because he says he'll miss the first month. He doesn't say he'll be back after the first month.
That's true.
So you know what I mean? So just because he's going to miss it, I've heard from Ali Gold, who says he's not going to be fit until probably November time. That's what he was thinking. Obviously, we've had no confirmation. We don't really know. We had Decky himself back in I can't remember when it was, during the summer at some point, suggesting he could be back sometime in September, maybe targeting the international break in September. But when he's back to full fitness, when he's back to being match ready, that's another question as well. So I'm not getting my hopes up that he's going to be back after a month. I think probably, if we're lucky, October time, I'm thinking.
You know what? That's absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. And you know what? For the first 2 months, we need 2 number 10s, never mind just one, which is just crazy to think about. And we have been linked with a host of number 10s so far going in today, like literally 4 or 5.
But what's quite interesting is in pre-season, he's clearly been trialling Sarr in the number 10, and he's been trialling Bergvall there as well. So he's trying to find solutions.
I mean, Archie Gray was pretty much playing there for a while, and he looked pretty good there.
I think he's all three of them. He's trialling them in that position. So he's trying to find solutions. Clearly, interesting. We haven't seen Kudus there yet, have we?
No.
So that's one as well. We know he can play in that position. So I'm not saying we have solutions, but he's trying different things, isn't he, to try and find a solution.
He's got no option.
Yeah.
All right, let's get into the transfer rumours. First up, we're going to talk about Harvey Elliott. Not exactly the biggest report, but it says the Times reports that Spurs are not pursuing the Harvey Elliott situation after initial talks over a possible deal.
I would, to be honest, at this point. We're not in a great situation. Targets have been running out, and I think Harvey Elliott is a really good player. I really like him. I know I've been on record saying I have issues about potentially his attitude, all this, not attitude, but I don't know, his personality, I guess, let's say. But I think he's a really good talent. Would fit in really well at Tottenham, I think, from a playing point of view. So unless it's, something for some reason cost-wise, it's just completely unrealistic. There's talks of Leipzig. You think if Leipzig can afford him, can we afford him? We probably. So
I think the main chat at the moment is Nottingham Forest.
I would like him. at Tottenham. I think when you're considering the other options that we're looking at, I don't know if he's the best, but I think he's one I wouldn't just discount out. But I think he's a really good player, and I think he's ready to be a starter somewhere, in my opinion.
The price that has been banded about is 40 million with a buyback option, or 50 million without a buyback option. Like 50 million for Harvey Elliott. Does that seem of value? But I mean, we are in desperation mode right now.
It's a bit steep, but you're also talking, 50 million for Tyler Dibbling. That's the kind of rate we're talking at the moment. Then again, we paid 55 for Kuda, so I can understand 50 is probably a bit steep. I think 40 is probably more fair, but I wouldn't play 40 with a buyback. I'd rather pay the extra 10 million for sure.
There are other options. I mean, I don't understand why Spurs don't go and pursue someone like a Lee Kang-in. Eberechi Eze as well. They're talking about obviously 68 million for him. And if you're talking about 50 million for Harvey Elliott and 68 million for Eberechi Eze, there's a no-brainer there, obviously. The Eberechi to Arsenal thing doesn't seem to be developing. If that doesn't develop, Spurs need to swoop in there. Spurs need to go get that done.
I think we should just, like we did with Gibbs White, just put the money down and say, we're ready for you. And if Arsenal aren't prepared to do what we have to show, we want you more than Arsenal want you. Put the money down and show, look, we're prepared to put the money down right now because we really want you, and we really think you'll fit in well here. And I think someone like Eze would be perfect because, fits in on the left points as well, because if we're not sure about Telenodabe, he can play there. And when Deki comes back, and obviously we need that number 10 right now. So I think someone like him would be absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
But whether we can get there ahead of Arsenal, we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah. Next up, we're going to talk about Leicester's Bilal El Khannouss, and the Times are reporting that Khannouss is an attacking midfield option that is being monitored by the club at this moment in time. El Khannouss has a release clause, apparently about £22 million. Look, he was a very good player in the Premier League last year. Obviously did go down with Leicester. I've said it on a number of occasions. I think he's very good attacking player that can thread the ball through the eye of the needle, left foot, right foot, exciting player. But there is question marks about his kind of physicality and is he too lightweight?
I think he did quite well for a Leicester team that was absolutely shambolic. I think given the circumstance, he actually performed decent. So I think I like him. I think he did all right for Leicester last season. But again, we need a starter. We need someone who's going to be a star in this team. Is he the guy? I'm not certain of that. I don't know if he's the guy to come in and, replace Maddison and Decky. These are big shoes to fill. I think the other guys are talking about are maybe more ready for that.
No, I agree with that. And I was saying, like, when we were first linked with El Khannouss, it was before Maddison's injury. And I was saying, all right, with Maddison and El Khannouss as kind of an understudy for him, I think that'd be a really good move for us. But I do understand and agree with what you're saying. Like, if you bring him in as the starter, it is very underwhelming. But I do think he's a player that can come in and surprise a lot of people if we do bring him in.
Yeah.
Next up is the news regarding Nico Paz. Damasio broke a story earlier today saying that Spurs have had a €40 million bid rejected for Nico Paz, as Como do value him at €70 million. Real Madrid have the option to match any offers for Nico Paz or take a 50% of his transfer value. Ryan Taylor, though, did come out straight away pretty much and says Tottenham sources deny that a bid has been lodged for Nico Paz. And George Sessions from the PA says that Spurs have not bid for Como's Nico Paz, despite reports in Italy suggesting that they have. Now, we know that Como, they're a quite well-off club, don't desperately need the money. And on top of that, whatever they accept for Nico Paz, they've got to give 50% of that to Real Madrid. So there's no surprise why they would be demanding a massive fee for him. Yeah,
it sounds like a difficult deal to do. When it comes to him as a player, from what I've read and what I've seen, this guy seems like one we should really go for. He's number 10, but he's 6'1", very physical, great left foot. Had a phenomenal season in Serie A last season. I think got 15 goal contributions last season for Como. So I think he's one who's only 20 as well. So he's really up and coming. He's so creative. If you watch some of the assists he was able to do last season, phenomenal passing range, great, really great creativity, unbelievable vision. But as you say, I think the Real Madrid clause, the fact that Como aren't going to be desperate to sell as well, it's going to make this deal very, very difficult to do, in my opinion. Now, we might be in a position where we're so desperate, maybe we'll just pay the 70 million. 70 million is a bit of, a very steep fee for a player who's really only had one good season in Serie A. But are we in that? If we're certain this kid is the future and this kid can come in and fill the boots that we need him to fill, I think it might be worth paying that money. But then if you're going to pay 70 million euros for him, you might as well just try your luck with the release clause for Eze.
Exactly. Like Nico Paz, as much as I think he's going to be an unbelievable player in the future, at 20 years of age with only one season behind him, it is a massive risk to tell him to come in and fill Maddison's boots. It is. However good you think he can be in the future, and I think he can be a top player in the future, but can he do it this season coming up and fill those boots that James Maddison? The amount of goal contributions, the amount he dictating the tempo of play that he was doing for last season, a key central role to our team, as well as the leadership abilities that he did have, part of the leadership group. So as much as I'd love to see Nico Paz through the door at this club, I do think like when you're comparing him to an Eze or someone that can come in and hit the ground running and do it straight away, I do think it's a risk.
It's a risk, but I think if you're talented enough and you're certain about it, then go for it. And this kid looks super talented.
No,
everyone's very excited about him.
I agree.
And physically, most importantly, he looks like he's ready for the Premier League.
You're talking about 70 million though. Like 70 million is a massive outlay. And I think like on the face of things, forget all the situations of 50 million for Real Madrid and Como don't need the money, etc. 40 million as a starting offer, I think is pretty fair, to be honest, for Nico Paz.
I think though, when it comes to where he would be, on my list, compared to when you're talking about some of the other players we're talking about, I think he'd be number one potentially.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, on the list maybe that we've got here today, but players that I want ahead of Nico Paz is first of all Eberechi Eze, and second of all I'd prefer a Lee Kang-in as well.
Maybe a Lee Kang-in as well, yeah.
Like Lee Kang-in, I don't understand yet. I think it's an absolute no-brainer. I've been banging this on for the last 2 days. People are probably fed up of hearing about it, but he's not getting in the team at PSG. I think he's such like when he's playing for Korea, he's kind of like out wide and he still makes an impact. But when he comes into those central areas, he's so creative and he's got experience now. And I think it's a deal that should be, we should be seriously looking at it.
I agree. I think for some reason it's gone wrong for him at PSG. They've found a way of playing without him. And we need number 10. So I would love to consider Lee Kang-in, but apparently they don't want to sell him.
But he wants to leave, apparently, as well.
If that's
So-
true, maybe there's a deal to be done.
Yeah. Anyway, next up, we're going to talk about Maghnes Akliouche of Monaco. Ryan Taylor says that Monaco's Akliouche has been scouted by Tottenham. However, it is unclear whether he's an active target for the club. Again, a player that's shone this year in the French league. 12 assists, 7 goals for Monaco. You're talking about 23 years of age. Bayer Leverkusen have also been heavily linked with him in the last couple of weeks. Is this guy a player that you would like to see at the club?
I really like him. I was watching him in the Champions League last season a lot, and he's so talented. He was playing kind of more right wingery, not quite a winger though, more of like a.
It's like a winger that drifts inside.
Yeah,
though,
like
isn't
as how I describe it is like when Bernardo Silva plays out wide. He's out wide, but he drifts inside. He can play in those central pockets, like when Decky used to play out wide. He's not really a winger; he's more of like a wide number 10. That's kind of like how Akliouche is, and he's got a great left foot. He's so technical, really good in tight spaces. Do we bring him in to play number 10, or does he suit that wide kind of number 10 role? That's the only question I have. But what I would say is just so talented. I would love someone like him in our team. I think he'd really up the kind of technical level again in the squad. Just where we fit him in. Do you buy him to play number 10? And if we're not buying him to play number 10, do you buy him at all? That's the question.
You could buy him as like a wide player and then move Kudus into the number 10. You could do something like that, but I'd prefer just to get a specialised 10, to be honest.
That's the thing. And I think he wants someone in the number 10 with a good passing range, because we kind of, when Decky comes back, we have a Decky who's more of a ball carrier, number 10, and that's obviously what Kudus would be if he plays there. But we need to sign someone to replace that passing ability Maddison has.
Yeah.
Now, he has a good passing ability, Akliouche, but again, his number 10 is position. I don't know.
What is his natural position, though? I know he's played for Monaco, but is that his actual natural position, or his natural position is a 10? I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I don't know.
It could be, though. Like, with the attributes that he has, his natural position could actually be a 10.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're looking for a number 10, like, if you're looking for a number 10, do you buy Akliouche? That's my question. I don't know.
Next up, we're going to talk about James McAtee, as Graham Bailey says that Spurs have held fresh talks this week with Man City over the possibility of signing James McAtee. Nottingham Forest, again, are heavily linked with him. But, I think he's a player that is like ready to go start for a Premier League side. Is he ready to go start for a Premier League Champions League side? That's a different story and different question.
Yeah, I like McAtee again. I don't think he's as good as any of the guys we've been talking about, to be honest. I think the other players are probably better than him right now. I liked him at Sheffield United.
Sample size is so small though. Like Cole Palmer as well. We were talking about him in a similar fashion. We were talking, how could Cole Palmer go? How can Chelsea spend so much money on Cole Palmer and he's like one of the best players in the Premier League straight away?
I know, but I don't think he's Cole Palmer's level from what I've seen. I know it's small sample size, but even Palmer for City in the small sample size, I remember he scored in the Charity Shield, brilliant goal against Arsenal. I then remember, I think in the Super Cup, he scored the winner a few days later.
It's true. And then McAtee has scored a fair amount for Man City last season as well.
He scored a few, but I don't like those are big moments. Obviously, Palmer stepped up in. I like McAtee. He's a little kind of like diminutive number 10. Good, like in little tight spaces. I just don't know. I don't know if he's, again, the level we're looking at. I like him though. I think as like a backup number 10, for sure. But as replacing Maddison, I don't know if he's the one.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's always going to be a hard task replacing Maddison. That's the honest truth. The next player that we are going to talk about is Brahim Diaz, as there's a report here that says Tottenham are reportedly considering a move for Brahim Diaz this summer. The 26-year-old scored 6 goals and picked up 8 assists last season. Spurs are said to be very keen on the Moroccan international.
I really liked him. I remember we played against him when he was at AC Milan, and he scored the winner against us in a Champions League game. I think whenever I've seen him for Madrid, he's one of these players where never seems to nail down a starting spot. But whenever he plays, he seems to do.
Why is that though? There's got to be a reason.
Why? Because they've got Rodrigo and they've got Vinicius and Mbappe. That's why. And he's never going to get a look in there. No matter how good he is, he's just not. And they've got Gula, who they spent big money on as well, Arda Gula. So I feel bad for him because whenever he plays, he seems to do well. But I remember, was it last season or the season before? He scored one of the best goals in the Champions League, I think, that season against, I think it was Leipzig. He literally dribbled past it was in a knockout game, dribbled past 3 players and bent it into the far corner from the edge of the box. It was one of the, I remember watching that game live. It was one of the best goals I've seen that season. So he's super talented. Again, another player, is he more of a right winger than a number 10? He's more of a dribbler. I don't know. If we look at, if you're telling me we're looking for a right winger to compete with Kudus and Johnson, I'll say, yeah, get him. But if we're saying we want him to replace Maddison number 10, not so sure.
Yeah. Say that for everyone.
I wouldn't say no to him, but he's just not. I don't think he's a natural number 10. I don't think he's a natural right winger per se, but he's more of a right-sided player than a number 10, I would say.
Well, I think he can probably play both roles, and if he comes in, he can cover both positions on the right wing and as a number 10. Yeah,
but it depends what kind of number 10 we're looking for. I don't think he's a number 10 who dictates play, gets on the ball, has vision.
He's more of a direct player.
Yeah, he gets on the ball, runs at people, dribbles, can maybe make a cross to the back post kind of thing, but he's not the kind of guy who's going to, in settled play, get on the ball, unpick the lock kind of thing. But, maybe we can adjust to that. It's not necessarily to say we can't play with the number 10 like that. But I'm just saying Maddison's gone. Are we looking for that kind of number 10? He's not that kind of number 10.
No. Well, that is the number 10s that we have been linked with so far today. I'm sure more names are going to be added into the mixer and into the hat. There's been an update on the Golden Guest podcast regarding our left wing situation, and they're saying that unless another attacker leaves, Spurs are not looking to sign a replacement for Son Heung-min. Thomas Frank has taken a real shine to Wilson Odegaard. Where have I heard that kind of thing before?
Every year. That's just Tottenham for you, isn't it? It's not what we want to hear. Of course it isn't. We want to hear that our talisman, our captain, is leaving and we're going to be signing a big name replacement for big money to replace him. I think the reality is, tell us what we signed to replace him for 30 million. That's the reality, I think, because Odegaard looks like he's going to be playing on the left now. We got Johnson and Kudus on the right. We got Odegaard and Tell on the left. Even Richarlison can play that. And I actually think, thinking about it as well more, Richarlison's going to be much more suited to playing on the left under Frank than he would have been under Ange as well, and in the way he plays when he does play on the left. So you got him as an option, but obviously he's going to be playing up front at the moment due to Solanke's injury. Again, we have squad limitations in terms of squad size and all that kind of stuff. Unless someone leaves, like a Richarlison, I don't see the space for another attacker right now as much as I would want one.
I think going into the season with the attacking options that we have is terrible. I really think so. You're looking at the teams that we're supposed to be fighting against. They've all got better attacking options than us by far. Odegaard, I think, has started pre-season really well. Tell, not so much. 2 20-year-olds on the left wing to try and replace the goal contributions that Sonny has given us every season is not good enough. You're talking about Maddison, Son out, Kulusevski out for a long term as well for the next few months at least. That's 67 goal contributions that was in the side last season. Where are those coming from?
It's a great question. I agree with you, to be honest. I think we're in a bad situation. Very bad situation. And even just getting a number 10 isn't going to fix that. I think we need more firepower. Kudus, as much as I like Kudus, he's not a goal contribution machine. Even in his best seasons, he's not a guy who's going to guarantee you. He's not there just for goal contributions. He brings a lot to the team, but he's not there guaranteeing you 20 goal contributions. That's not his role. He's there, with his specific skill set. So you got Johnson there, who obviously gets you goals and stuff. But in terms of real quality, I think we're banking on Tell to turn up, and we've signed him for 30 million. We know he's a very talented player. We know, I think in terms of profile, he's very much similar profile to kind of how Son is. So I think as soon as we sign Tell, I think that was the thinking. He could potentially be Son's long-term replacement. It's not what people want to hear, but if we've signed him, you're going to have to back him. And you can't sign him and then say he's not good enough before he's had a go, I guess. And that's the thinking.
Yeah, look, there's one thing signing a player that you think can do well in the future. There's another thing signing him as Son's replacement. You're talking about Son, the biggest legend at this football club in the Premier League era. That would got us a minimum of 20 goal contributions every season. Tell's not going to do that from the off, and we need goals straight away. We need someone that can come in and hit the ground running. He's already been here for 6 months. He didn't hit the ground running. I think he can be better than what he was last season. Don't get me wrong, I like Tell, but to sit here and say that he can pick up the mantle of what Son's leaving, I think that's just crazy talk, to be honest.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. There's no evidence. Unfortunately, in this pre-season, he's been playing a lot up front because of due to injuries and stuff. So we haven't even seen him off the left too much. So it's tough to envisage he's going to be getting us the goals Son will. So can we get in the transfer market? I would like to think so, but we've got 4 players there. So who's leaving? I don't like. Is Odegaard going to leave? He likes Odegaard apparently now. So Johnson's not going anywhere. Kuda's just signed. So unless you're selling Richarlison and maybe making Tell a striker and then signing another left winger, I guess that's an option. But Richarlison at the moment doesn't seem any close to leaving at the moment, is it?
Yeah,
looks like he might be staying.
Yeah, look, it's not a good situation going forward. I guess we need to start off with the number 10 because that's the most urgent matter. But it doesn't look like we're signing anyone else in the forward line. Maybe a striker if Richarlison leaves. That's about it.
But yeah, it's scary to think about the amount of goal contributions without exiting the team and how we're gonna replace that.
Yeah,
it's I don't know. It's scary, to be honest, because at the moment, I don't even see half that.
Yeah. It's just not a Champions League strike force. That is not a Champions League strike force. You've got Solanke and Richarlison, who, Solanke didn't get enough goals last season. Richarlison is always injured. Odegaard and Tell, 2 young kids coming through who've got big futures ahead of them. And the only one, which really I would say is quality enough right now for a Champions League squad, is probably Kudus.
And he just had a bad season.
Yeah.
It's not looking good. Not looking good. I'd love to sit and say, yeah, we should go get Leao, we should get all these players, but we're not going to.
However, having said that, there is a report linking us to Man City's Savinho. Tottenham are eyeing a surprise move for Man City's Savinho. He only just joined City last summer for 30.8 million, but I can safely say this one ain't going to happen.
No, I like Savinho, but he ain't coming to Tottenham.
Yeah.
I know he didn't have the easiest first season, I think, for City. I think he showed flashes of brilliance. I think for his age, I think he did quite well. But because he was brought in as a replacement for big players and as a new look City, he didn't quite live up to the big hype. I think he got better as the season went on though, and I expect a better second season from him. But I don't see City letting him go.
Yeah, me as well. Next up, we're going to talk about Kota Takai. As Alistair Gold says, the plan for Kota Takai is for him to stay with the first team after recovering from his injury. Only if Dragoshin fully recovers before the end of the transfer window might they consider loaning him out.
And they're talking about Vuskovic loaning him out now, which is, I don't understand it. And we're looking at another centre-back still.
I just don't get the plans of this football club in terms of this whole centre-back situation. I thought that they were thinking of bringing in Kota Takai to be part of the first team, not just because of Dragoshin's injury, just because they thought he's got the quality to be part of the first team. Now, Alistair Gold's saying, well, he's only going to be part of the first team, really, if Dragoshin makes a quick recovery.
If he
doesn't make a quick recovery.
Well, I heard that Dragoshin is still 2 months away at least. So it doesn't sound like he's...
And now we're still looking for another senior centre-back to come in as well on top of that. So obviously they don't really think Kota Takai can come in and hit the ground running.
But doesn't he have quite a nasty injury?
I don't know if it's nasty or not. I haven't heard anything about his injury. I've just heard that he's injured.
Talking to some people on the tour, they said it could be a few weeks.
Few weeks.
Yeah, like he's got an ankle injury. But it's a few weeks, but it can take a bit of time to get over. So I don't know. I don't know if he's going to be fit, when he's going to be fit as well. So the whole thing seems to be a mess. I don't understand why you would loan out Vuskovic in this situation. Why not keep him around and have him just play fourth choice, have him Danso, Van de Ven, Romero, and then Dragoshin for when he comes back. And then you have Kota there as well, but all loan out Kota at least. Vuskovic has been playing in pre-season. Kota's not had a pre-season. So how is he going to be when he comes back into the team? He's going to have to take time to get used to it. So I would much rather loan him out than Vuskovic. I think Vuskovic just came in and done well every time. I don't think he's had a bad game, really. I can't think.
Yeah, I mean, I think he only got significant minutes in one of the games, right? In the first game where he scored that goal and got an assist. Apart from that, we've barely seen him.
He played a half, didn't he? Another half in one of the friendlies.
Maybe in Luton or Wickham.
Yeah, one of those games. And then he came on. I think, didn't he not come on in both games? It didn't,
I think late, though. I don't think we saw much of him.
Yeah, but he still came on in both those games. So he's been playing most of the pre-season games as an 18-year-old. So, he looked all right. So, look, they know him behind the scenes. They know him in training. So, clearly they feel like he needs another year development. And if that's the case, who am I to argue that? I'm just saying, from the outside looking in, it makes more sense to me to loan out Kota and keep Vuskovic around.
But why are they looking for another senior centre-back to come in? Like, when we've got so many more pressing issues, we've got enough centre-backs.
From what I saw from Andy Gold's article, he was saying that Romero, Van de Ven have history of getting long-term injuries. Dragoshin has got a long-term injury. That leaves you with just Danso as your only senior centre-back if something bad was to again happen to Romero and Van de Ven. So on that basis, do you need another one? But, there's even problems we haven't even mentioned, which were also in trouble. Doggy, how bad's his injury? Now we're left with Ben Davis, who's, again,
Spence will play there.
We've got Spence, but Davis is our only senior left-back. So, but at the moment, that means what? We're relying on Porro again to play every game.
Yeah.
So that's also another bad situation, wherever way you look at it. So either we're relying on Ben Davis to play more, or we're relying on Porro to play every game. And either situation is not ideal. And that's another situation we've left ourselves very, very short because we didn't sign one of Sirkin or Walker-Peters, which whatever, we didn't. And so we're left in this situation where we're very short in those positions. And that's just been a long-standing issue. That was an issue last year about understudy to a doggy, which we still, a year later, have not addressed again. And we were speaking when Davis got that contract. And I was saying, as much as I respect him, giving him a contract just keeps him in the squad. And now Frank is saying he's such an important member of the squad and leadership. And I get it, but I just don't want to see young, hungry wingers in the Champions League running at Ben Davis at left back again. I just don't want to see that. And we are going to be seeing it. I guarantee you, we're going to be seeing it, and we're going to be seeing him play more in the Premier League. And for me, we have to move on from him as well. It's time for Son to go, and how hard that is. It's time for Davis to go as well. It has been time for a long time, and we're going to be sitting here for another year. And I think he's going to be part of the leadership group this year, to be honest, hearing what Frank's saying. And he's going to be at left back this year, and he's not going to be at centre back. And that's another issue. So we've got so many issues in this squad, which is crazy. We've got all these issues, yet we've got barely any space to fix it. It's crazy.
Yeah. In a very, very...
And at this point as well, is it fair to say, was it a mistake to potentially loan out Donley in this current market as well?
Well, I think they would have loaned out Donley, knowing full well they need a number 10. I think Donley... His loan got announced after the tour.
Yeah.
So they knew Maddison was injured when they loaned Donley out.
I know, but I'm just saying, for Donley doesn't have to be registered in the squad, right, for Champions League.
I was saying this. I've been saying this for the last 2 weeks. I've been mentioning Donley when I've been speaking to Brian. I was like, if Maddison is injured and Kulusevski's out for the first few months of the season, why not keep Donley around?
You have to, because... then that means, because we were saying you might need 2 number 10s, well, Donley can be there as one of them. Yeah. So that for me, if you knew Maddison as an ACL, doesn't make sense to me, because Donley would get game time. And what I was saying, we were talking about this months ago, sometimes players just need that opportunity. And, if we want to give youth an opportunity, you have to make sometimes sacrifices. Well, at this point, we actually don't even have to make a sacrifice. There's a space there because of injuries.
Sacrifice has already been made.
Exactly. So... might as well give him that opportunity to show he can be part of the first team.
Well, he's at Stoke now, so
I know,
there's nothing we can do.
I think that's a mistake now.
Yeah, it's looking like it. And last but not least, L'Equipe are reporting that Tottenham are awaiting to see PSG's stance on Zabarnyi deal. Spurs are ready to pay €70 million fee that Bournemouth demands and will pounce if PSG fail to complete the deal for the Ukrainian centre-back. Look, I think we've spoken about him so much on this channel. The PSG thing, I don't know what's going on, but they've been like imminent to sign him for like a few months now. Nothing's happened. Is he the centre-back? I mean, he's a great centre-back. He's been brilliant for Bournemouth over the last couple of years. I'd love to see him here. But if everyone's fit, does he get into our team?
Who's Zabarnyi? Yeah, I mean, is he better than Van der Ven or Romero? Basically the question you're asking. And probably not. I would love him, though. I think he's phenomenal. If you want a centre-back, look, it's expensive. I think he's a quality centre-back. You're looking, Heisen went for, what, 50?
Yeah.
I think that's probably a more fair price for him. But obviously they've sold so many players, haven't they, Bournemouth, that they're not in desperate need to sell, so they can hike up the price.
Are we actually willing to pay 70 million for Zabarnyi when we have someone like Son leaving the club and we only replace him with a 35-year-old, 20-year-old? Like, it's just the club's got its priorities just all wrong.
Well, it sounds like to me our name's probably just being used to
it does sound like
PSG to get them over the line.
It does sound like that. But I mean, if we take this report on face value, I think it's just mental.
Yeah, why are we prepared to pay 70 million for him, but we're not prepared to push the bar out and pay 70 million for Eze?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that doesn't make sense to me.
No, it doesn't make sense. But a lot of what this club do don't make sense at times. But yeah, look, the reality is we're in a desperate situation on a number of positions in the squad. We've got 6 days to go till we kick off our season out in Udine for the Super Cup. A few days after that, we kick off against Burnley, and then a week after that, we got to go to the Etihad, Man City away. So much to do, not much time to do it. And once again, it looks as though we're going into the season just not ready. So
we're at the moment of time of recording where we have 5 centre-backs yet. That seems to be one of our priorities to bring through the door, because we still feel like we need another one in there. We're lacking depth at left-back at the moment because we don't have a backup for a backup for
Frank's
a doggy.
already confirmed like left-back's not an
we're
issue
not going to sign a full-back. We have 2 injured number 10, so we're desperate for a player in that position. We've sold Son, but we're not going to replace him on left wing, so we're going to rely on Tel Nodebert. And we currently have 2 strikers right now, one who's injured and one who's injury prone.
Yeah, that's exactly where we're at this moment.
So basically, the only positions we're really okay in is our right wing and maybe right back, if you consider Spencer right back.
Yeah, right wing, keeper. CM. I think we're all
right. And CM, yeah, and CM.
Got Palhinha in there.
So centre mid and right wing. We're okay in.
Seems like decent squad building going into the new season.
God.
But look, that is your hefty Tottenham update. Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below.